We are back. Peanut Gallery, take it away.
All right, so Japan is not often associated with having a rich sports culture by other countries around the world. This is particularly due to many other perceptions of the country that outweigh this culture, and possibly rightfully so, whether it's technological development, unique history dating back thousands of years, or even video games and anime. Its sports culture is often an afterthought. That being said, Japan is without a doubt has an affinity for athletics that rivals any other country. Walking around in Japan, you can spot the ubiquitous sports culture, whether that's the baseball bars that can be found wandering around, or the soccer team that you get stuck with on the same train car in the afternoon. You can see students often carrying kendo or kyudo equipment coming home from school, something quite unique to Japan. Outrageously large driving range nets are scattered all over Tokyo Prefecture, and it's very hard to walk around for 15 minutes around town without passing at least one baseball diamond or soccer field. In order to understand the basis of sports culture in Japan, one must first look into the religious and historical development of the country. Things such as the native religion of Shintoism or a subsequent Buddhist mixture, the practices of Japanese feudal kingdom, the Bakufu government also play a staggering role in athletics still in Japan. Finally, the undeniable influence of foreign countries like the United States, China, and Canada. It is true that Japanese in modern times aren't a religious bunch. Despite the numerous shrines and temples everywhere, this still doesn't stop the fact that religion has played a relatively strong role in the cultural development. As you may know, Japan has two main religions. The first is the native religion of Shintoism that has written records dating back to the 8th century. However, practices obviously precede them. Much of the religion is focused around kami, which are essentially spirits or spiritual essences that are said to reside within many things in our natural world. Animate and inanimate objects are both said to have kami, from trees, rocks, and rivers to animals and people. The majority of Shintoist practices center around communication with the kami in some form or another. The second religion is Buddhism, brought from Korea via mainland China. Around the 6th century, it's really a mixture of the two that's come to defy Japan. The majority of Japanese people do practice some form of Shinto or Buddhist beliefs, even if only on special occasions. Many Japanese children go through a Shintoist practice at a young age called shichi go-san, and it's said to bring prosperity to one's life. On the other hand, most Japanese funerals are carried out in a Buddhist ceremony with a monk. The importance of religion for individuals in Japan, however, does not seem to be particularly high. For many, it's more of a tradition that one can connect with rather than something that will shape their character or their actions with their daily lives. If you need an example as to how religion has directly impacted Japanese sports culture, you only need to look at the often proclaimed Japanese national sport, which is sumo. The origins of sumo are closely tied to Shintoism, as it is believed that the first acts of sumo wrestling were used as a means to worship ancient Shintoist gods to provide a good harvest. The speculation comes from the drawing of sumo-like figures in cave paintings. What is known with much more clarity is that sumo was a common event on display in the Heian period, which was often used as a means to not only entertain the nobles of the Heian court, but a way to pay respect to the kami. As the sport developed, it increasingly became more spectacle. But even today, sumo carries out many religious elements. There are only 6 grand tournaments each year. One in Osaka, one in Fukuoka, one in Nagoya, and the other 3 take place in Tokyo, which is actually the same arena where our illustrious event took place tonight.
Indeed.
Everything from the mawashi sumos that they wear to pre-match rituals, as it is bathed in Shintoist symbols. There are many different ways in which that sort of Shinto culture plays a part in Japan. You can see that with the robes that a lot of the Japanese wrestlers wear.
Right.
Everyone from Hiroshi Tanahashi to Great Okan. A lot of Shintoist symbolism in that gear. The first day of the tournaments that take place is Doryo Iri. The entering into the ring ceremony of the top 5 divisions of sumo are introduced. The first division of Yokozuna have special introduction where only they are allowed to perform. During the ceremony, various symbols of Shintoism are present. The Yokozuna will adorn a hemp-made robe of iconic zigzag pattern found across Shintoist tribes.
And that's why Yokozuna in WWE, it was a very similar pattern to what it was there. I actually watched a sumo tournament when I was in Japan. I saw the opening.
And you think about like the ribbons and stuff?
Yeah.
It's all part of that.
Oh, yeah. Flowers given to them, the salt, it's all symbolic to that particular individual. I'm pretty sure you're going to go over that.
Yeah. So before each bout, shorter pre-match rituals are performed, which include a cleansing of the mouth with water. This is a similar practice one partakes in when cleansing the hands upon entering Shintoist temples and shrines. Salt is thrown around the ring to purify the doyo and to avoid injury. The symbolic stomping of the legs is done in order to scare away evil kami from the ring.
Ooh, I didn't know that. Cool.
A sumo who reaches the top rank of Yokozuna will go to the Meiji Shrine in Tokyo and perform ceremony before their status becomes recognized.
Oh, and it's still huge there, by the way. It's massive.
And sumos may be on the receiving end of many poor jokes in America, but in Japan, the status of sumo athlete is one of high prestige.
Oh, they're megastars.
The link to the religious roots of Japan makes it one of the more serious sporting events to partake in and to spectate. Buddhism also plays a modern role within Japan. The difference between Buddhism and Japanese Zen Buddhism, although mainland sects do exist in Japan, it is Zen Buddhism that has dominated since its arrival in the 12th century. Explaining what Zen Buddhism could be a whole entire talk unto itself. But it is as a whole, basically where Zen was first developed in India, made its way through China, and finally Japan. What makes Zen unique is a heavy focus on meditation. Zen literally means in Japanese is to meditate. It is believed that it is important for people to consistently develop their consciousness to reach enlightenment. Enlightenment has no set definition, nor does it necessarily mean the same to different individuals. Its emphasis on the experience of living from moment to moment. Some pretty obvious elements of Zen Buddhism appear in athletics, such as martial arts. Many teaching the ideologies translate between the two. A great example for this can be one of the most popular Japanese martial arts around the world, which is karate. The dojo, which is associated with martial arts, was first used by Buddhist monks as the area in which meditation would be practiced. The dojo became popularized as a place of training in a slew of martial arts. The use of force, strictly for self-defense purposes in karate, is dogma that Buddhist monks follow as well. Many forms of meditation and breathing exercises done in martial arts are derived from meditation practices created from Buddhism. And the Japanese word wabi-sabi is an aesthetic style that originated from Buddhism. Some of the main concepts of wabi-sabi are imperfection and simplicity. You can see that in the notion in Zen when white minimalist uniforms are worn by students. So you see that commonality with the dojo wrestlers.
With the young lions wearing black trunks, black knee pads, black kick pads, right.
And so you think about going into that culture there, and it's like this is your simplistic. You're there to not only learn the offensive, but also the defensive, which you can actually see a lot of that style with the young lions.
Oh, yeah. Well, the young lions are very symbolic to that because, black trunks, black kick pads, black everything. That simplistic before you get to part B, which is your character work, you have to master and perfect plan A, which is why you see such incredible athletes come out of this system because they take it very seriously.
Right. So from here on out, I'm going to go a little bit quicker.
God damn, you're sweating like a motherfucker.
I am. So anyways, we go into the tradition again then of the...
hot? I mean, kind of.
Of the samurai who introduced the style of kendo. That's where kendo stick actually comes from, is that's what the Japanese samurai would use
as practice.
So you have that sort of thing in there. I think the point that I'm trying to make, because I can do like an 8-part series on this.
I mean, it would be a good thing to do.
I know, is that going back to the Japanese tournament in of itself, it actually comes directly from Sumo. And if you look at sumo tournaments, the first day was always a sort of round-robin sort of thing.
Right, literally thousands of years of history come from this.
Right, so you have this round-robin sort of thing with...
Oh, they do round-robin in there too? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do.
Cool.
And then the second day is going to be more that single elimination kind of tournament.
Right.
So there are 2 different various days within that culture. But the point that I'm trying to make is that Japanese tournaments are a thing because that is the Japanese way of doing things.
Right. So, Peanut Gallery, we're going to come back with some wrestling lesson. We're going to talk about our favorite little tournament here, the New Japan Cup.
All right.
We'll be back with that.